What's up, guys? Welcome to Bleav in Rams, part of the Bleav Network. Erin, Coscarelli, Tyler Dragon back with you. We have so much to talk about this Week 11 matchup. The Rams traveling to the East Coast, a 10 a.m. start time for them. Never easy. We've got so much. What went right? What went wrong? Before that, though, of course, subscribe, comment, rate. We're always checking what you guys are saying about the show. Do you like it? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? We're all ears here. Catch us on Bleav TV. And of course, yes, follow us on social media, Instagram, X. We're on YouTube. We're reading all your comments. And we have a lot to get to on this show. Tyler Dragon, how you doing from USA Today? What's going on?
It's Victory Monday. I get to say it again. It's a good day to be an LA Pro Sports fan. Not only the Rams get a big win, the Chargers got a big win. So if you're a Southern California sports fan, it's Victory Monday all around. So it's great. So BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. And we watched a great one yesterday, right?
Oh, yeah, we did. I mean, and by the way, I want to talk about a money line. Before that, though, BetOnline, Tyler, has the largest selection of odds on everything. I mean, we're talking football, NBA, NHL. Did you know they also have entertainment props? I mean, they have everything. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action. America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Rams being an underdog in Week 12. They've got an all-important matchup against the Eagles. It's going to be scary. I want to say are they 3-point underdogs at this point? Check BetOnline. Make sure to get in on the action. All right. Week 11. A final 28-22, all-important, big win against the Patriots. We're going to talk about it. I mean, I think even though they pulled off a win, there's the big question mark I have is, shouldn't the Rams at this point be putting teams like this away in the fourth quarter? I mean, it was a nail-biter. I really didn't think that they should have had the opportunity to come back with 4 points ahead. And they put their trust in the defense. There's a lot to break down here. First and foremost for you, Ty, what was your biggest takeaway from this game?
My biggest takeaway is the Rams got a win that they should have got. I mean, the Patriots, they are a rebuilding franchise. They're not going anywhere this season. So the Rams really needed to get a win, get back in the winner's column against an inferior opponent. They did that. As you said, though, it wasn't a convincing win that you would like to see, especially when Stafford had 4 touchdown passes, Kupp, a big game, over 100 receiving yards, got in the end zone multiple times, and even Puka over 100 receiving yards. When you have those 3 players clicking in all cylinders, you should be able to have a convincing type of statement win against an opponent who has a losing record and is fighting for a top 5 pick in the 2025 NFL draft. Let's just be honest. Now, I will give the Rams the benefit of the doubt. At the end of the day, a win is a win. They got a W. And they have to travel across country. That is hard on the body. That's hard to, get up mentally for that game. It's an early kickoff, 10 a.m. on the West Coast. You have to travel 3,000 miles to play. So all that plays a role. Players may not say it, may not admit it, but that plays a factor in performance level, being able to just be at your top tip performance during the game. I think that kind of factored in, especially early on. It was a sleepy start for the Rams. They got out to a 7-0 deficit. But overall, I do believe it's a game they can build upon. They can say they traveled across the country, got a win. Win against any NFL opponent can be difficult. So it is a good win for the Rams, especially when you have a Sunday night showdown, as you alluded to, against the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 12.
Yeah, the following week, as Tyler mentioned, the Eagles are going to have to travel West Coast. And it isn't
Mhm.
easy for the body to make a trip like that. For the Eagles. And so hopefully it plays in the Rams' favor. I remembered because we were there at the Monday Night Football matchup against another
Mhm.
opponent that I thought should have been a very winnable game in the Dolphins, and things did not look good. But, one of the things I will say I'll take away from in the very beginning, right? I think we were kind of wondering, what were the Rams going to be able to fix the issues that they struggled with the week before in their other AFC East opponent in the Dolphins, right? Stafford sacked, I want to say he was sacked 4 times. He never looked comfortable in the pocket. And it seemed like maybe McVay was going to go back to the drawing board with regards to what that offensive line combination was going to look like. And it seemed like to me, this particular offensive line combination worked out best, right? Coach decided to bench Jonah Jackson, and then he decided to give the rookie and Bo Limmer the start, and then
Mhm.
McClendon Jr. at right tackle. We didn't have Havenstein and Noteboom in this one. By the way, too, also, fun fact, I need to change the battery, if you can't tell, in my smoke alarm. So if you're hearing these random, like, little chirps, I am deeply sorry for it. It is very annoying to be on the receiving end of it, and I just need to figure out how to grow another 4 feet because I can't reach the ceiling. But
You don't
anyways,
have a ladder?
I don't have a, I mean, I have a stool. I have a stool, but I'm like 5'3", vertically challenged, and I have yet to figure out how to problem solve.
I
I'm
gotta
not,
get you a ladder, Aaron.
I know.
You
Hey,
gotta have a
please
ladder.
send a ladder my way. But in the meantime, it seemed like that combination, and they've been struggling with health up front, but also figuring out the cohesion of that offensive line. And it seemed like it paid dividends, not just in keeping Stafford upright, but also in the run game. What were your thoughts about McVay's decision to go with Limmer and bench Jonah Jackson? Were you surprised by that, or did it make a lot of sense based on the week before?
I was surprised considering Jackson's a veteran in this league and an established starter, but it worked out well. Stafford was not sacked. He was kept clean for the most part. Anytime you can have your quarterback getting 0 sacks in a game, that's a positive, albeit the Patriots don't really have a lot of good pass rushers. But for him to get kept clean, that was good. The Rams had overall over 100 rushing yards. They averaged 4.5 yards a carry. Kyron Williams had a decent game. Wasn't a breakout game, 86 yards rushing on 15 carries, but that's over a 5 yard average. So when you have that, Blake Corum got involved a little bit with 5 carries.
Mm-hmm.
So when you keep your quarterback clean, 0 sacks, and on the ground you rush for over 100 yards, the offensive line did something. That's kind of a statement for the
Mm-hmm.
offensive line. When you're not pointing out offensive linemen and they go unnoticed the whole game, and you check the score, check the box score, and you check the performance. Okay, Stafford wasn't pressured that many times. He wasn't sacked at all. The running game had a decent performance, but overall, collectively, they had over 100 rushing yards. That's a solid outing for the offensive line. So credit to Sean McVay and the coaching staff for putting an offensive line together that they believed in. And now they have to build on that performance. The key for offensive linemen, they have to be able to build some cohesion,
Mm-hmm.
some chemistry together, working together in, checks and different stunts that they have to call, different plays where you have to, if you do a zone run, you got to pass off a defender to your fellow offensive lineman. So there's a lot of chemistry, a lot of rapport offensive linemen have to establish. So for them to have that at one start together, that was a
Yeah.
positive sign for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. And it's, for Rams fans listening, it's so important for them to figure it out right now, because I think we were all sort of scratching our heads after that Dolphins game. I mean, it really just made me think maybe this team isn't the team I thought that they were. And that didn't seem to be the case when it seemed like all systems go. Everybody was sort of dialed in. Stafford seemed comfortable. Obviously, you saw with Puka and Cooper, when they're both on the field at the same time, it makes it seem like this team can compete with anybody And like we mentioned, right now is the time. They need to figure it out with that Week 12 matchup against the Eagles. If this team plays like this, in my opinion, they could come away with a win. Puka went crazy in the first half, 117 yards on 7 targets and getting, I want to say, his first touchdown of the season. And when those two guys combine for 13 catches, 229 yards, and the 3 touchdowns, because Cooper had 2 on the day, it just seems to bode well for the entirety of the offense in terms of balance.
Yeah, I think, anytime you can score 28 points on the offense, albeit they were held scoreless in the first quarter, were held scoreless in the fourth quarter, but 28 points should be good enough to win you ball games. I didn't really like too much of the defensive side of the performance. Drake May had a decent game, passed for over 280 yards. He had a quarterback rating of over 100. So for a rookie quarterback to have that type of performance against you, there are causes for concern, because you're going to face better and it's especially more experienced quarterbacks than Drake May going forward, especially this coming week. But overall, I did think that the offense played well, especially you got to have your key players play well in big games. Big time players make big plays in big time games. Every coach says that. Puka Nacua did that yesterday. So did Stafford. So did Cooper Kupp. Kyron Williams came up big with averaging over 5 yards a carry. But the defense has to play better. I just got to be honest. They have to play better against the pass and against the run. I didn't like that the Patriots were able to kind of hang around and stay in it. And a couple plays here or there, a couple bounces, New England's way, they could have came out with a win that game, and that would have been an embarrassing, humiliating loss. But luckily, we don't have to talk about that. It's a 6-point win for the LA Rams, and they can go back to the drawing board, look at their mistakes, especially in the defensive side of the football. And it's much better to go in and film study and kind of correct mistakes and have some self-reflection after a win than a loss. So it is positive vibes overall.
Yeah, and think about that flight home, right? I mean, it's so much more fun to fly home from the East Coast on a plane ride with a W, and trying to figure out how to fix the small tweaks that the Rams need to do. Because I agree with you. I thought, wow, that the fact that the Patriots were still in it, and it really could have been a result that would have to me may have ended the Rams season in terms of contention in the NFC West. I was a little surprised. What was your take on, Josh Carty missed, I want to say it was a 26-yard field goal, and then that last that fourth quarter, they decided to punt. Did it feel like for you, McVay didn't have faith in Carty after that missed field goal? I mean, and let's remember, guys, too, just to be devil's advocate, Josh Carty was the leading scorer the week before. He scored all the points, not just the leading scorer, the only scorer. He scored all 15 points with his 5 field goals the week before in that Monday Night Football loss against the Dolphins. Were you surprised they opted to punt?
I was surprised with kickers all day yesterday.
Yeah.
It was just a rough day for kickers, starting with Justin Tucker missing multiple field goals, Evan McPherson Sunday night missing field goals. And speaking of Carty, I mean, he only missed the one. He only got one opportunity. But I wasn't surprised. You want to try to trust your defense and don't put your field goal kicker in a position where you have some questions about it, right, considering he had missed one before in that game. But overall, yesterday was a rough day for kickers, Erin. If you had a kicker in your fantasy team, you probably had a bad day, unless you were Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, I'm losing. I need the quarterback tonight to go off for the Texans, and it's not looking very good. But I will say, being a kicker is not. I know and thinks it's like the easiest job. It's such a layup, but it's really hard. I mean, think about it. You have to have a short-term memory, and you're heading into that locker room in the half, which like what feels like a layup. and you miss it for whatever reason, you're the sole focus. It's no longer a team.
Yeah.
You're the eye of the team. And that's why you got to have ice cold blood in your veins to be a kicker, because coming back from something when that was such an easy kick, deemed by me, the fan that can't kick for shit. It's unfair to say, but those are things that, can get in your head and really impact you as someone deeply dependent on, moving forward in the game. So it was interesting. They opted to punt. They wanted the field position to be in their advantage, and it worked out, thankfully. I do want to get into the defense because we started talking about it a little bit, Ty.
Yeah, so need to talk to you guys about what I consider the most important part of an outfit. You see this hat right here? Your hat, if you wear the same hat over and over, it starts to smell, get sweat stains or makeup. You need a hat to keep up with. That's melon. That's where melon comes in, this hat right here. Melon is not only your average hat, they make the most premium and durable headwear in the game, whether you're tailgating, working out on a golf course, or heading out for a date. Melon lasts 5 times longer than your average hat.
Yeah, and I was
gonna say, you have one too, right?
I like your hat game right now. I'm digging it. I will say, when I'm feeling really lazy, I just want to put a hat on and call it a day, because taking care of this mane, it is a full-time job. I've had mine for, I would say, a few months now, and I love that you can have a variety. I mean, look, the cute logo. It's nice. I've been getting a lot of compliments on it, and if it's warm or maybe you want to jump in the pool, you can rock the Hydro collection. And Melon also has you when it's winter time, which I know it doesn't get that cold in LA, but I do love the thermal collection. So go to melon.com if you're looking for the world's most durable hat. That's MELIN.com. Put it to the test yourself. But right now, Ty and I are looking pretty sweet with our headgear, I must say. But yeah, back to the defense. What were some of the reasons? They had 2 turnovers on the day, 2 clutch turnovers on the day. We saw Braden Fisk get in on the action again, which I do like to see when the rookies show up defensively. And then, of course, the Kim Kitchens interception that sealed the deal basically for the Rams. Your takeaway for the Rams defensive output, considering they are going to have to face Saquon Barkley and company next week?
Yeah, I thought they played well enough to win. However, I do think they played down to their opponent a little bit. They allowed the Patriots to hang around in that game. As I said before, when you have a rookie quarterback having over pass rating of over 100 and over 280 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, Drake May played. I mean, he was pretty comfortable. He's only sacked 3 times, but they played well enough to win. I like the performance from Quinn Lake as well, over 10 tackles. Christian Rosebroom showed up big. Like you said, Cam Kitchens, a big game-sealing INT that closed the game out for LA. So overall, I think that there's room for improvement for sure. There's going to be mistakes that Sean McVay and the coaching staff are going to look at and want to improve, especially getting a quarterback rattled a little bit, making sure that you make it harder for him. Because if Drake May had over 280 yards, Jalen Hurts with Brown and Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, that's going to be a tough task if you're going to keep Jalen Hurts clean and comfortable. Those 2 receivers are way better than what the Patriots have to offer.
Yeah.
But overall, well enough to win a game. Definitely some major areas of improvement, though.
Yeah, and hope to fix them by next week, because they're going to have probably their biggest test of the season when they're hosting the 8-2 Eagles. Sunday Night Football, another primetime matchup at SoFi. If you were at
we got to go.
I think so too. I think if we were at the last one, we need a clean slate, because we both went to Monday Night Football against the Dolphins, and
Mm-hmm.
This team has felt like a tale of two teams at times. And I think you and I have largely blamed it on the injuries. And now that both teams feel like they're hitting their stride, Rams are getting healthy at the right time. They're seemingly figuring out the right O-line combination. But this Eagles defense is coming hot, holding teams to an NFL best 273 yards per game. And Vic Fangio, I remember covering him when he was the defensive coordinator for the Niners back in the day. This defense is not here to play around. And it's going to be a very fun matchup. I love that it's prime time because it's going to be, Sean McVay and company with what we put on tape for the Eagles to figure out. To me, I think we've seen that this team can win in many different ways. What do you think the answer is going to be as we look ahead to Week 12 for the Rams to pull off a win at home?
You got to win the battle in the trenches, especially on defense, because the Eagles are known to have a stout offensive line. That's why they have so much success with the brotherly shove, tush push, because their offensive line wins and gets a push forward up front. The Eagles are going to try to establish a run with Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, and they're going to impose their will with their physicality up front. And that's going to lead into a passing game with premier receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So your defense is going to get tested probably more than any game this season outside of maybe the Green Bay Packers and their aerial attack because of this balanced offense on running the football and passing. So up front, they need to play much better. And on offense for the Rams, you got to utilize your two horses on the outside and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua. Now, the Rams have a good defense. Like you said, they're number one in total yards, top 5 scoring defense in the NFL. So they make it difficult for you. But I do Bleav you have some advantages, especially if, Cooper and Puka are on their A game and healthy.
Yeah.
That's your advantage. Running the football is going to be kind of difficult on the Eagles, but on the outside, the Eagles can be had.
No ejections, no punching people, no getting injuries. As long as this Rams offense stays clicking, it is going to be a fun watch for all of us NFL fans. And a quick, before we wrap this episode, a real quick what happened around the NFC West. The Rams are number 2 now. And the Niners lost at home to the Seahawks 2017. The Cards had a bye. And like I mentioned, Arizona 6-4 on the season. And they're 2-0 for all of you who are wanting a breakdown of the NFC West. They are 2-0, the Cards, against divisional foes, with 2 games remaining against the Seahawks and 1 each against the Rams and the Niners. The Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners, we all have identical 5-5 records. But the Rams top the Hawks and the Niners because of their head-to-head wins. Seattle and San Francisco are split. But the Seahawks now have the better in-division record over the Niners. Remember, the Seahawks are facing the Cardinals this week for their very first meeting. And then I think they face them twice in the span of 3 weeks. So if you're interested in knowing how the Rams are going to roll into the postseason, if they can, you have to keep your fingers on the pulse when it comes to what else is happening in the NFC West. It's so crazy. It's 6-4 for the Cards, and then everybody else is 5-5. And the only reason why the Rams are number 2 is because they have these tiebreakers over the 2 teams. So listen, I mean, they're still in it. Even though that heartbreaking loss against the Dolphins, I Bleav in hope, Tyler Dragon. I'm a hope spiller.
Oh, yeah. You got to keep the optimism high, especially in this Rams podcast. But this NFC West is turning out to be one of the most interesting divisions in football, if not the most. When you have all these teams jumbled up at 5-5, and then the surprising Arizona Cardinals. Who would have thought entering Week 12 that the Cardinals will be in first place at the NFC West? I had them being the last place team in the division. But for them to be in first place says a lot about their quick turnaround. But yeah, the Rams are still firmly in this thing, not only for the wild card, but for a division crown.
Mm-hmm.
They have to close out the season strong. I'm not breaking any news here, but this division is still wide open, unlike most divisions across the NFL.
Yeah, and that's what makes it fun to watch. That makes it fun for us to cover this team because the storylines are ripe. This team is no shortage of adversity, and we can all relate in our own personal lives. So stay tuned. Plenty more action coming at you from Bleav in Rams. But this is your Week 11 recap breakdown with Tyler Dragon of USA Today. I'm Erin Coscarelli. Ty, so good to see you. Miss you. Maybe I'll see you at the game this week.
You'll see me. Just make sure you're there.
Okay. Deal.